All right, guys, we got Coach Mack. So
We got everybody?
yep, we got everybody.
Okay.
We'll kick it off to opening statement and then questions.
All right, guys. Hope you're doing good. We're obviously, watching the previous game. A lot of things that we can do better, but there were some real positives. I think the grit and, the toughness, the determination of our team really showed kind of that, you know, um, never say die kind of attitude. What the defense was able to do, getting those turnovers was, incredible. And I think the adjustment with, Ty, at the quarterback spot, I thought he handled things real well. And I really think, the team elevated around him. And I thought that was a good thing. So going into this week, this team we're playing in Ball State, I'm really impressed with what their coach has done, what their staff has done. Um, it's a really good football team. It's solid in all phases. They've got explosive playmakers, and we're going to have to play our best game to give ourselves an opportunity in this ball game. So, from a injury standpoint, Ty Brock will be the starter. D. Rich probably won't be available. It's not surgery or anything, but pretty banged up. So that'll put Khalil Pimpleton as the backup quarterback. Third team quarterback will be Darius Bracy, and we'll bring Joel Wilson, dust the cobwebs off of him from his high school days as a quarterback behind Ty. And then we could have some other guys back there taking snaps throughout the week. As I said from the get-go, doesn't matter the position. Wherever we're deficient, we'll do something to allow us to go play the game. And I'm excited for our kids to be able to go out and play a game at home against a really, really good opponent. And put a plan together to give us the best opportunity to go win a game. And that's what it's all about. And again, just grateful for the opportunity to be able to play. So I think that touched on most of the stuff. Questions?
All right, let's go to Jason Lewis.
What's up, Jason?
How you doing today?
Good, buddy.
Good. Obviously, as you mentioned, with Ty getting the start, what have you seen from him, and what have you been most impressed with him? Obviously, we saw a little bit of him last week, but whether it's in practice and stuff, and the way he's been a leader on the practice field, that you're confident in what he'll do come game time.
Well, I tell you what, we're obviously very fortunate to have him, choose to come to Central Michigan, and as it's turned out, this will be a great opportunity for him. Not getting spring ball, obviously not getting any of the summer work, and then missing some things during what would be considered fall camp, I guess. I think it took him a little bit, and yet we constantly were, giving him different things, to try to move it along. And I was really impressed, like I say, I go back to just how he handled it during the game. There wasn't any hesitation. We come out, throw a hitch right away with him, which I thought was, great job by Charlie. Put it on the guy. We had a drop, and yet I think that those kinds of things, were really good for him in the game. And so excited to see him behind center and putting the things together this week, that get in the playmaker's hands. That's what we got to do.
All right, let's go to Adam Jackson. You there, Jackson?
He's on mute.
Well, I figures it out. Let's go to Christian.
What's up, Christian? There you go.
Much barbecue sauce is good stuff. Anyway, you got your two-headed monster and Lou and Kobe. What kind of similarities have you seen to them as you had last year with Jonathan and Kobe? And what is the ceiling for those two? Could they be, top notch? You saw what Jarrett Patterson did. Are those two on that level?
I haven't had a chance to watch him play. We haven't gotten him in any crossover film or anything. I just know what a great player he is. But I think as we talked at the beginning of the season, I think one of the rooms I felt the best about was our running back room. And it's come to fruition. Both those guys doing a great job. And I think playing off each other real well. And as you know, because of some of the areas where we were a little short manpower, they were in the backfield at the same time a couple times as well in our pony personnel stuff, which will, continue to go. So, I think it's really good to be able to have depth where you're not beating the heck out of a guy, right? And yet we've done a pretty good job like we did with the other two last year is you kind of go with the hot hand, which as the game wears on a little bit. And I think they really complement each other well. Bracey should be back at full strength now, as well. And so that gives us actually that third component. So we, could probably see all three of them in the backfield at one time based on where we're at right now.
All right. Do we have Jackson? No. All right. Let's go to Andy.
Hey, Mac. Last week, during the weekly presser, you mentioned third down conversions, and you had to get better at that. And you were at 50% or just below 50% against Eastern on Saturday. You put it out there in the universe, your team delivers. What is the next thing, or what is, as you look at it, it may not be a statistical thing. It might be, hey, we can't be so lethargic in the first half or whatever. But what would you like to see out of this team in the same vein that, hey, you know what, here's what we need to do to get better. What is it? What's on the top of that list?
Right. I think that's a great question. When you go back and look at the breakdowns, sometimes it's guys trying to do too much. Our biggest piece this week is, look, we've got to focus on A, winning a play, right? Whatever that play is. But B, just do your job and trust that the, guy behind you is going to be able to do his. There were a couple times you get double gap cancellation defensively, for example. When you don't hold your gap and you get two guys in one and then the run splits, these are things against these guys. We've got to be gap sound in everything that we do. And in order to do that defensively, you got to really trust what everybody around you is doing. And we've got a lot of trust on this team. I think it showed the way we battled back last week. Continuing, I think it's really important based on where we're at. You mentioned the third down, but offensively, having drives, that can flip the field. I think for us, the field position piece has got to be huge this week. And, that starts with our kickoff cover. How many times did we put the defense in a situation where they're getting the ball on the 40? That's something that is a huge challenge for our team this week, is really playing that field position game.
All right, let's go back to Jason Lewis.
Obviously, your team is different this year. Ball State is different. But when you look at what they've done earlier in the year, and I know last year's game was a high-scoring one for you guys. You only won by 1 point. What have you learned about them from watching the film? Obviously, the Toledo game against Western Michigan, against Western, or their Toledo game last week, to give you a little bit of a more of a read, having both played Western Michigan.
Well, I think they've got a lot of the same guys back. I go back to what he has done with the program since he's been there, and how through their recruiting, their guys understand the expectations, the way they play the game from a physical standpoint, and still have those explosive playmakers on both sides of the ball. You know, I mean, they've got guys that can change a game, and you know, to me, I see it more as as that program really setting itself up to a higher standard. And you know, we're going to have to play our best football of the year to be able to play with these guys.
All
And
right.
then quick, just to follow
Go
up,
ahead, Jace.
Go ahead, Jason.
is just when you look at that Western Michigan game, and you know your secondary had a little bit of trouble with those explosive plays. What have you said to them, maybe in this after last week or in practice, to help build that confidence up? Because a lot of that in the secondary with those explosive plays with those guys comes down to confidence.
No, it does, and more than anything is you know, the message is go challenge yourself, right? And look, you do the best you can do, but do it in a challenging way. And look, in the secondary, sometimes you're going to get beat. It just happens, right? Got to have short memory, but more than anything, look, you're talented guys. Now just go challenge and challenge yourself, and don't doubt yourself. And when you do that, you got an opportunity to you know, play a good football game.
All right, let's go to Christian.
Yeah, Jim. You know, you got kind of a thin defensive line rotation, but you know all those guys are really stepping up and playing well. What have you know, what can you say about that group? You know, Bristol, and Stewart and Mo Diallo and those guys for really having to play a lot more than you would think a defensive lineman would. You know, in a normal year when you have a little bit of a deeper rotation.
Well, my hat goes off, first of all, not only to those guys, but how the defensive staff is rotating them, you know, pretty much in and out to stay fresh. I've been really impressed with that. And some of the guys that come in, you know, really on valuable reps that we need to do, you know, Amir Sadiq is playing more and doing a good job, you know, giving some relief at the end position. And I expect that out of him. And I think he's doing a good job of that as well. But more than anything, those guys are really playing as a unit, and I think really understanding if they do their job, it's going to allow those linebackers. You know, you see the, you know, the tackle total by a George Douglas. You know, you know what you're doing. That means your D line is doing a great job, right? Some of those type of things. So credit and hats off to those guys. And you know what? They play well together, and that's an important thing.
All right, let's finish it up with Andy.
Hey, Matt, can we go back for a minute to that? You talked about, you know, starting field position and kicking off. A lot of the kicks were not very deep against Eastern the other day. Was that by design, or was it just that Marshall's just not where maybe you might want them to be in terms of
you'd sure like to get some hang time on them. Obviously, we hit some pooch stuff in trying to hit some spots to help that with the hang time, you know, so you can get down the field a little bit. But when you're looking at it, a lot of it just simply has to do with trusting your technique and what you're taught. You know, being able to tackle the ball on a certain eye based on where you're at. When you do get to the contact zone, not picking a side, but you know, the bully technique that we talk about. So we need to really do that. And you know, in saying that, I mean, one of the huge things in that game was the squib that we ended up getting them down deep and making them go long range. So, you know, as bad as maybe it was on some things, you know, that was a pivotal point in the game. So there are things that we can build on from that standpoint.
All right, thanks, Mac.
All right, guys, appreciate it.
All right, guys, we got Willie Reed. So why don't we start with Christian on this one?
Hey Willie, what are some of the areas that you feel like you have grown the most from last year to this year?
Playing a lot last year. This year, I've kind of understood the defense way more. It's helped me play a lot better and a lot more confident. So that's the main thing, just playing more confident and really understanding, what we're looking to do.
All right, let's go to Andy.
Hey, Willie, can you talk a little bit about taking the ball away on defense, which sounds so elementary and yet it's so important, and what you can do for your team and the way you guys. I mean, it seems like in football now, in the recent past, that teams are really emphasizing that, punching the ball out, stripping the ball. Is that the case with you guys? And can you talk a little bit about you guys as a defense on the whole, the ability to do that?
Yes. I think it starts at practice with us. Our coaches kind of emphasize that a lot. We have periods where we focus on just taking the ball away. And when we get to the game, it shows up in situations like where we can one man hit, the next guy come in and strip the ball, or, whether that's just seeing a loose ball and cradling on it as fast as you can. We just know that getting the ball back is big for our team. On defense, our biggest goal is to try to get off the field. So when we can get takeaways, that make it easier for us.
All right, let's go to Jason.
Hey, Willie. With this week being against another team that is big on explosive plays like you guys saw against Western Michigan, what has really been the emphasis for you guys, and how, as a defense, are you working to make sure to, minimize those as much as you possibly can?
Yeah, I think as the defense, our biggest goal is to try to, have each other back and, everybody do their job on a couple of big plays. Whether it was a guy out of position, or one thing, but, we got hit on a lot of big plays. But if we can limit those and, everybody just do their job, I think we'll be fine.
All right, let's go back to Christian.
Hey Willie, a young guy out there, Dante Kent. What have you seen from him this year? And you played a lot as a redshirt freshman too. So, for that being in that position, having to play almost right away, how do you think he's doing right now?
Yeah, I think with Dante, he's coming along great. It really starts at practice with him. He practices very hard. He practices really good. And I think that's what helps him out. He's probably being confident out there now as a young guy, doing the things in practice and just taking it to the game.
All right, let's go to Andy.
Hey, Willie, last week, that game with Eastern, you guys come back and really, I wouldn't say it looked real bleak, but it certainly wasn't great heading into the fourth quarter, and then you score 25 points and you win. If you look back to last year's game against Ball State, you came back and won that. You were down 17 three times, and you came back and won that. You don't always come back to win them all. I understand that. But for a team that seems to have developed a knack for doing that, what do you think the secret ingredient is to that? Or what is it that, the talk on the sidelines or might be in the locker room or might be, whatever, the key to doing that as, to hanging in and staying in the game when it doesn't always look so good?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that just as a team, we really believe in each other. Like, we really feel like we can win every game. So even when we go out and have a rough start and we're losing, it's not like we don't feel like we can still win. Like, we're going to continue to fight, have each other back, and play hard. And I think, that works out for us a lot. When we just have each other back and play hard, don't even look at the scoreboard, just play. And I think that's our biggest thing, just continuing to play hard, not giving up, and actually believing in each other.
All right, let's wrap it up with Jason.
When you look at this Ball State team, they have a lot of guys back from last year. How much does that help when it comes into going into this week, knowing, that shortened season, every game is so much more important to get those wins? And what do you feel like are there going to be the keys, other than limiting the explosive plays, to getting a win this weekend against them?
I feel like we got to watch a lot of film. Like you said, we had a pretty close game with them last year. And I feel like this year they got a lot of same players coming back, and also we do too. So just watching the film, understanding our opponent, and like I said, as long as we just do our jobs and, play fast and physical like we always do, I feel like we'll be in good shape.
All right, thanks, Willie. We'll have Oakley here in a second. All right, we've got Oakley LaValle. Why don't we start with Andy?
Hey, Oakley. Last game at Kelly Short Stadium, and it seems, like you just started playing football here about 3 months ago, and then shortened senior year. Give us your thoughts going into this as a senior. I know that this hasn't been the season that anybody would have thought or would have liked, but still, final game, and sort of, you've made it to this point. Can you talk a little bit about that, Oakley?
Yeah, it's definitely been a long ride, but it doesn't seem like it. Kind of like you said, I came onto the team, 4.5 years ago as a walk-on. So, so much has changed between, where when Coach Mack has taken over and where he's taken the program. And, I felt I got to be part of that monumental shift, I think, in the program because, you felt that with Coach Mack and, Mr. Alfred when he came in, it was a big change in the dynamic and the culture here. So I'm really glad to have been a part of that.
All right, let's go to Jason.
Hey, what have you seen from Ty in practice, and what has most impressed you with his leadership that he's going to be able to bring to the field this week? With Daniel out.
Yeah, Ty, I call him. Ever since he's got here, me and him kind of hit it off right away. His family's in the cattle industry. My mom's family, worked with cows her, growing up her whole life. So, we kind of took to each other right away. I call him Tex. So sometimes when people call him Ty, I don't even know what they're talking about. But, yeah, man, Tex, as soon as he got here, he took to the team. He's a team guy. He's always had that sentiment to him. Anything that's going to be for the best of the team, he's going to be a part of that. So, he really came in, and everyone welcomed him with open arms. But he really meshed with the team well. And in practice, I think he's taken a good responsibility already. It's a lot of uncertainty when you have that quarterback role go down. Even in the game, we were all ready to roll. We felt like he was ready to step up, so we didn't miss a beat. And I think he came into the Eastern game and proved that he was ready, to take on that role. And I think he'll continue to prove that going forward.
All right, let's go to Christian.
Yeah, Oakley, your brother played here, now you're playing here. I guess, what does Central Michigan mean to you? You're a Florida kid, but it almost feels like this CMU has kind of been ingrained into your family.
Yeah, I was born right outside of Lansing, and so I was born and raised here in Michigan. And then actually when Saylor decided on Central, me and Saylor are a little bit different. Saylor had a lot of Division I offers. He decided on Central because, he saw something in Central that he loved. That the history and the culture and the legacy of the program. And so when he came here, my family then moved to Florida, but yeah, Central's meant a lot to me. Just the opportunity to play for the Chips every game. I've gotten to play in over 37 games, something like that, and I've just I've really enjoyed every second of it. I wouldn't trade any of it, and I'm just really proud to be a Chip, and just like I think my brother was really proud to be a Chip too.
All right, let's go back to Andy.
Hey, Oakley, I asked Willie Reed this question a minute ago, and you guys, things didn't look so good for 3 quarters down at Eastern, and yet you came back and won. And then if you look at the Ball State game last year, you guys were down 17 3 times in that game and came back and won it. You don't win them all. Everybody understands that, but it seems like that this program has developed a knack for, in these close games, finding a way somehow. What do you credit that to? You're a veteran. You've been here. You saw what it was like before. You see what it's like now. What do you credit that to, or how does that come about in this program that you get that knack for winning? Because it's something you can't really put your finger on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I think you made a good point. It's a lot of it has to do with I think we try to, Coach Mack and the staff as a whole, try to really preach that brotherhood mentality. And as the longer I've been here, you see it more and more. And like you said, we've developed that fight to the finish. Never knock out, never die. You can't ever count us out of a game, I don't think, and I think we've proved that over and over again. And I think that really goes to show because the defense, they believe in the offense. When they need something and they feel like they need to be bailed out, the offense is over there telling them, "Hey, we got you guys." All we need is just a little chance, a little breath of air, and we're going to fight to the finish every time. And I think that complementary football, offense, defense, special teams, has really proven to be the difference for us.
All right, let's go back to Jason, and then we'll wrap up with Christian.
When I know it's still the beginning of the week, and so you haven't done too much preparation yet, but when you look at this Ball State team, they have a lot of guys back from last year. What do you feel like you learned from last year's game and from the group that they have that you could use coming into the game this weekend?
Yeah, man. Ball State's always a team that's had my respect. They're tough guys. They play hard. I think they're a pretty well coached group of guys, and they're tough. So, just like last year, we're going to expect nothing less than a knockdown, drag out game. I've seen these guys before. We've played them, they played us, and we're two squads that when you have a tight game like that, both teams remember it the next year coming back. So we know that we've been circled on their calendar, and it's the same way this way. And we're just looking. We're not. We're going to expect a knockdown, drag out game because they're tough guys and we're tough, and it's going to be a 4-quarter game.
All right, let's wrap up with Christian.
Oakley, I know that, you play that kind of H-back, hybrid tight end fullback kind of role, but, is there any difference from playing, a traditional fullback where you just line up and hit the guy in front of you as opposed to lining up, out at tight end, or is it pretty much just same thing, block whoever's in front of you, set up holes in the run game?
Yeah, Coach T, the tight ends coach here, he's always preached that the tight end's got to be the Swiss Army knife out there. He's got to be able to know the routes like a receiver, know the blocking schemes like a running back and an offensive lineman, and know what the quarterback is thinking, as far as protection, hot routes, things like that. So I think as a tight end, when I moved from the running back room to the tight end room early in my career, my sophomore year, I think I got to develop that football knowledge that it takes to be a true tight end, and understand the passing and the running game. So I think overall that's made me a better football player. But I think no matter what, even if Coach Mack likes to call us tight ends, I'll always have that fullback mentality.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks.